I've found myself drawn lately to the kinds of books I would have loved as a kid. My holiday reading list this year includes two terrific science fiction stories, a pair of non-fiction books about cutting-edge science, and a novel that made me look at one of history's most famous figures in a new light. The Codebreaker, Jennifer Doudna, Gene Editing and the Future of the Human Race, by Walter Isaacson. The CRISPR gene editing system is one of the coolest and perhaps most consequential scientific breakthroughs of the last decade. I'm familiar with it because of my work at the Foundation. We're funding a number of projects that use the technology, but I still learned a lot from this comprehensive and accessible book about its discovery by Nobel Prize-winning biochemist Jennifer Doudna and her colleagues. Isaacson does a good job highlighting the most important ethical questions around gene editing. 1,000 Brains, A New Theory of Intelligence by Jeff Hawkins. Few subjects have captured the imaginations of science fiction writers like artificial intelligence. If you're interested in learning more about what it might take to create a true AI, this book offers a fascinating theory. Hawkins may be best known as the co-inventor of the Palm Pilot, but he spent decades thinking about the connections between neuroscience and machine learning, and there's no better introduction to his thinking than this book. Claraa and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I love a good robot story, and Ishiguro's novel about an artificial friend to a sick young girl is no exception. Although it takes place in a dystopian future, the robots aren't a force for evil. Instead, they serve as companions to keep people company. This book made me think about what life with super-intelligent robots might look like, and whether we'll treat these kinds of machines as pieces of technology or as something more. Hamlet by Maggie O'Farrell. If you're a Shakespeare fan, you'll love this moving novel about how his personal life might have influenced the writing of one of his most famous plays. O'Farrell has built her story on two facts we know to be true about the Bard. His son Hamlet died at the age of 11, and a couple years later, Shakespeare wrote a tragedy called Hamlet. I especially enjoyed reading about his wife Anne, who is imagined here as an almost supernatural figure. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Like most people, I was first introduced to Weir's writing through The Martian. His latest novel is a wild tale about a high school science teacher who wakes up in a different star system with no memory of how he got there. The rest of the story is all about how he uses science and engineering to save the day. It's a fun read, and I finished the whole thing in one weekend.